welcome back to Kelly True Thoughts. I don't really know what episode this is, but the next episode. I am settled back into life at home post-college. I just got a new job. I have some new acting projects that I'm working on, so there's a lot of good stuff happening, but why don't we dive right in and start talking about our topics today. My first trial video for this new relaunch of Kelly True Thoughts was a little bit long. I think it was maybe about 18 minutes. I'm going to try to shorten the videos. I know that's crazy long for a YouTube video, so I'm going to try to condense the points a little bit, which is hard for me because I am chatty and I like to talk a lot, but we're going to see how I do today. I'm going to be talking about how to deal with a new situation that might feel unfamiliar and scary to you, and focusing on what is positive and what is good about that situation and the good you can get from it. Sometimes when we do something we're not completely comfortable with, it's easy to just kind of focus on the fear of, oh my god, what if I do it wrong? Or I've never done this before, and kind of stepping into that unknown. And as humans, I feel like we don't really like to focus on the unknown, because that way when we do something new, it doesn't feel like we're dipping our toe into a pool of unfamiliar water. It feels like we already kind of expect what's going to happen. We've already mentally prepared ourselves, because that's very important. And we feel stable. We feel like we've got our floaties on, and we aren't going to go crashing down the river and tumble and fall, and we like to avoid those things. Now you're probably thinking, Kelly, that's a no-brainer. Obviously, if we're scared of a new situation, it's going to be a situation that's going to cause us anxiety. Duh, it's new, so we're going to be anxious. Yeah, true. But did you ever think that maybe a situation is going to cause you anxiety, not because it has to, but because you're making it? If you focus on the situation, not thinking along those lines, even though you're not sure, then there's a much better chance that it might not be scary at all. The reason I wanted to talk about this topic today is because I just started a new job at a coffee shop, and I've never brewed coffee before. I've focused a lot on college and my studies, and I haven't really had a job in a long time, especially one that's fast-paced and is based on precision, and I've been nervous about it. Whew, I had to fix that lighting, much better. So I decided to think, okay, I might not know what I'm doing in terms of making drinks right now. I might be slow at it. People might get pissed off at me because I don't know what I'm doing yet. But I'm nice to people. I know how to talk to people. I was attracted to the place because I like the atmosphere, and a lot of people go there. I'm serving coffee, which is one of my favorite things on the planet, and I'm maybe making someone's day by getting them their favorite drink. And I focused on the small little facts and the small little things that I know are positive about the situation. I think when you go into a new situation, even if you're nervous, if you could give yourself 3 things, count 3 things, 3 little things about it that are positive, that make you smile, that make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And if you do that for every new situation, at least you can go into the situation feeling like you have a little bit, not like you have your floaties on, but you feel a little bit more positive about it, a little bit more confident. It's just training your brain to look at something that might be scary in a more positive way, even if it's unknown to you. And if you look at it that way going into it, then chances are it's never going to be scary at all. Give yourself 3 little things, even if they're small things. And finding the little things to focus on, even if the big picture isn't all there yet, I was able to make an uncomfortable situation a lot more comfortable. And now I'm starting to feel more comfortable at work, and I'm starting to look at it in a different light, and it's really helped me. Not every situation has to be scary. It's only scary if we tell ourselves it's going to be scary ahead of time. Okay guys, so clearly I am the biggest dork on the face of the frickin' planet, but for my review section of the video, I am going to review my favorite movie, because I realized I should have done it last week when I decided to bring my special guest Joy, and I didn't even think about it, so I am doing it this time. I'm going to be reviewing my favorite movie, one of them, Inside Out. I have Anger here, and he's popping the collar circa 2005 for some reason. Stop it, Anger. That is not cool anymore. I have even more characters from the movie, but I am that much of a freaking loser that I will spoil the entire movie for you guys if I show you all of them, so I can't do that. Inside Out is one of Pixar's latest films. Well, not latest, maybe from like 2 years ago. And in my opinion, it is one of the most original ideas they ever came up with, or that anyone has ever come up with for a movie. I was kind of a mega dork when it came to this movie. I remember I was scrolling through like my Facebook feed or something, and I saw some link to new Pixar movie. It makes a movie about going inside the head of a teenage girl's emotions or something. So I clicked on it. I was like, that's weird and psychological and trippy, so it's right up my alley. And I read the article about the concept of Inside Out, how it's based on a girl named Riley who moved to a new town with her parents, and it's about her 5 main emotions. The emotions are actually characters. I don't know why this was so intriguing to me, and I'm just in general interested in the psyche, which is probably why I make these videos, because I really like thinking about the way that humans tick, and I like talking about it and connecting with other humans, so it makes sense. And I remember I was really drawn to the animation style, and I was excited to see this world that they would come up with. As you could see from my little friends here, the emotions are adorable. Each emotion character, joy, which is Riley's happiness, anger, which is her rage, obviously, fear, disgust, and sadness are the other 3. Each emotion looks exactly how you would imagine that emotion to look. Like if you were to turn that emotion into a person, it's pretty spot on. Basically, this movie is about, I don't want to say it, but it's about being a preteen. It's about growing up and leaving childhood and starting to enter teenagerhood. It was emotional for me because I remember I was such an imaginative kid. I was playing pretend up until I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't really announce that to the public. I was playing pretend for a long time, and I lived in a fantasy world most of my childhood, all the way until I was around 12, Riley's age. You get to see what's going on inside of Riley's head while all of this is happening. So you might be wondering, how does this even work in a film? Like, how can you see Riley becoming a preteen in her head? I will just say, the animation is beautiful. The soundtrack, oh my god, the soundtrack is amazing. It kind of sounds like a fantasy in that it takes you to like this other sort of world. It just, I can't even explain it. The soundtrack just works perfectly with what's going on in the film. Joy is like the leader of the emotions because Riley's a happy kid, so she's happy all the time. But when she moves, she starts to feel other emotions. She's scared, she doesn't know what to do, and Joy starts to lose control a little bit. And Riley's other emotion, sadness, gets separated from the other 3 emotions. And basically, they are thrust into the deep depths of Riley's psyche that they've never seen before, and they have to find their way back to headquarters, which is basically the main part of Riley's psyche. I didn't spoil anything. If you look up the scenario for this movie, it'll basically tell you the same thing I just said. I am purposely trying not to spoil anything. In my opinion, this movie balances comedy and adventure very well. There are so many little jokes that work perfectly that are relatable to all of us because every single one of us has been a kid on the brink of becoming a preteen before. We've all been there, we all get it. But I will not lie to you, this movie has some very sad moments. As lighthearted and fun as this movie is, you're gonna cry. It's Pixar, so obviously you know you're gonna cry, but like, you're going to cry. You are going to bawl your eyes out. There are at least 2 points in this movie where you're gonna cry hysterically, and I'm telling you, I don't cry very often at movies. I really don't. Like, I seem like someone that might, but I don't. I was bawling in the movie theater. It's bad. This movie is visually stunning. The characters are amazing. All the emotions are super entertaining. Riley's psyche and the different lands that they visit, that's what I was the most excited about when I was reading the article. Like, how do you make a whole world out of someone's brain or their inner psyche? How do you do that? Well, Pixar did it, and I don't want to even spoil anything about it, but I will tell you, think of like Candyland. Did you ever play the board game Candyland when you were a kid? Think of like that colorful, kind of like zany sort of world. That's kind of what it's like, but better. And that mixed with the humor as well as the very heartwarming and devastating moments make the movie a an A-plus Pixar film in general. The soundtrack goes perfectly with it. It's a great movie. It's honestly my favorite movie that Pixar ever did, and I would suggest it to anybody. There's one character in the movie that I can't really elaborate on, but I do own a stuffed animal of this character as well. But this character is going to grab your heart, and I'm not even going to go into detail, but just see the movie. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. For someone like me that likes fantasy, psychological, but adorable things, this is all of those wrapped in one. So for me, this is like a Kelly movie, 1000%, but it's funny, it's pathetic, it's heartwarming, it's awesome, it's appealing to everyone. It's just an all-around great movie, and it's one of my favorites, and I really hope if any of you haven't seen Inside Out that you will go watch it, because I've probably seen it like 8 times now, and anytime I meet someone who's important to me, I make them watch it with me. And usually they thank me for it, so I want all of you to go watch it now. So for the direct response portion of my video, I had a friend reach out to me and ask me to talk about the subject of isolation, dealing with having feelings of isolating yourself, and if someone that you're close to or others around you are isolating themselves, and how to deal with that. We can isolate ourselves when we're nervous or in a really deep depression, or we can just isolate ourselves for very specific reasons. I know for a fact I've isolated myself before from other people, and I know that I've had friends that are really close to me isolate themselves. And when someone is isolating themselves from you, it's kind of easy to take it personally and to kind of wonder, did I do something wrong? Why doesn't this person want to hang out with me? Why doesn't this person want to talk to me? Why do we feel the need to isolate ourselves? I would say that humans are social creatures. We're communicators. There's a difference between wanting some alone time and pure isolation. So is isolation a fear of being around other people? Or is isolation simply wanting to block out other things in life that you don't want to deal with? Only you could really answer that question if you are isolating yourself. I know about this topic because I used to have social anxiety when I was a kid. And the idea of being around peers or anyone remotely my age was terrifying to me. I guess if you feel like you're isolating yourself and you don't know why, maybe sit with yourself and kind of question that. Ask yourself why. Is this because of an insecurity I have? Is this because of something that happened to me in my past that maybe someone did to me and I feel hurt over it? Is there something emotional that I'm dealing with that I need to get over? Is there a hurdle that I need to jump that I just never decided to jump? Sometimes facing something that scary, it's easier to just not look it in the face. So if you feel like you have been isolating yourself for a while, or you don't know why, maybe really think about your past. Maybe go through past experiences. Maybe think about how you feel emotionally when you're around other people. Do you feel panicky? Do you have heart palpitations? Do you all of a sudden do these negative thoughts start coming in your head saying, I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that? And then if you realize that you do that and you do overthink and that happens, kind of stop yourself and think, why am I thinking that? It's all about questioning yourself. And there's nothing wrong with having time alone, but if you feel like isolation is a problem for you, sit down and maybe revisit your past and think about when you're in a social situation, what goes through your head, and then try to analyze why. If any of you out there are isolating yourselves, you're not alone, and a lot of people do it. When it comes to friends that you know that might be isolating themselves, I will elaborate on that too. I've had friends that have done this, and in this situation, if you have a loved one or someone you care about who's isolating themselves, the best thing to do is not to pressure them to open up to you if they don't want to. They might be going through something that they don't feel comfortable enough to open up to you about. They might be going through something that they haven't told anyone about. You don't know that, and you don't want to assume something. The best thing you could do for someone like that, and maybe in hopes of getting through to them, is to just reach out in a simple way and say, listen, I notice you're isolating yourself. I care about you, and if you ever want to talk to anyone about anything, I will be here. I won't judge you. I'll listen. I'll be unbiased. I'm your friend and I care about you, and I just want you to know that you can tell me anything. And if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it, but I've noticed these patterns and I want you to know that I'm here. Just at least put yourself out there, offer your help, and then leave it. I think that we isolate ourselves because we're people and people get scared and people have things happen to them that affect them. But the more self-aware you can be, if you notice these patterns and you're aware of them, it's not too late to break them. It's not too late to understand why you're engaging in these patterns. You just have to sit with yourself and really think about it. And just know there's nothing wrong with thinking about it. If anything, that's really brave of you and awesome. The more revelations you make about yourself, the more you know yourself, the more self-assured you're going to be and the more confident you're going to be, because there is nothing more beautiful than knowing yourself and knowing all your faults, because you know why? You can accept your faults, you can learn from them, grow from them, and discover more and more about yourself. And there is nothing that helps somebody shine more than understanding that. So that is it for this week's episode of Kelly True Thoughts. I thank you again for reaching out to me. Some of you gave me topics that I didn't get to address today, and I'm going to address them in my next video, which will be a special Valentine's Day edition of Kelly True Thoughts. I'm very excited. Feel free to reach out to me with more topic ideas because I always need more, and I will see you all next week, guys.